3. Here with Jasmine Barrow, junior track star, and I guess a little bit of doing everything. Tell everybody what all you accomplished last year in track season.
So over the summer, I won state regionals and I came second at nationals.
Wow.
And during the school season, I won state in the triple jump and the 400.
Yeah.
And you know, we got state runner-up, so it was a good season last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Your sophomore year, right?
Yes.
So I mean, that's pretty impressive. But I guess the real story here is you've had diabetes, right?
Yes.
And how long have you known and had that?
So in 2016, when I was in 8th grade, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Okay.
It was back when I was doing gymnastics.
Right.
So of course, you know, I was already small, but I had lost about like 15 to 20 pounds before I was diagnosed. So my parents took me to the doctor, and they tested my urine for ketones, which is, you know, your muscle breaks down because of all the sugar in your body. So I had a lot of ketones, so they're like, you have type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
So my parents, they drove me to Atlanta Medical Center, and I was there for about 3 or 4 days, just, you know, educating about, they educated me about diabetes, learned how to take my own shots, and just, you know, got to understand what I had to do every day, just until there's a cure for it. So
was that a shock, or was it kind of relief to know that, you know, they solved your issue there?
I know it was a shock because it was kind of both. Like, it was a shock is like, oh, like, I'm gonna have to deal with this, you know, for a good while until it's a cure. But I was relieved to know that, like, I was eventually gonna get back, you know, healthy, and I could get back to my sports, you know, stuff like that.
Was it was it worrisome when you lost all that weight? I mean, you couldn't figure out what had happened, or? Before,
like, we didn't realize I was losing weight until like about 15 to 20 pounds were gone.
Yeah. Wow.
So, because I was already small.
Yeah. Right.
Because of gymnastics, but after I lost that weight, we're like, okay, something is going on, and I was always tired because I was losing sleep at night because I was urinating a lot because my body was trying to get all the sugar like out of my systems and stuff. So I was losing sleep, I was losing weight, I was going to the bathroom a lot. It just, I did not look healthy.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
How much? I mean, were you doing track and gymnastics at the same time, or?
8th grade was the one year I did both, but my focus was still gymnastics. I went to like 2 track meets the entire season. Yeah, and I only went to track practice like on Wednesdays because that was the one day I didn't have gymnastics.
Did somebody talk you into track, or did you realize, hey, wow, I'm pretty good at all this?
I know, like in 7th grade, my friends, they tried to get me to do track the first year, but I decided not to because I still enjoy doing gymnastics. 8th grade, they were like, usually like you have to try it because like in PE and stuff, you know, we had like a track unit. Yeah. So I was fast, I guess. Yeah. So they convinced me to do track. I signed up for it, and I was like, I enjoy doing this a lot. Yeah. Like, I think I enjoy this more than gymnastics. And then that was also the year of like the Olympics and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I just like realized, I remember not wanting to watch gymnastics and wanting to watch track more. So then I was like, okay.
That's a sign right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's when I kind of realized I wanted to quit.
So you said you have to give yourself shots, or do you have like an insulin thing? What happens?
The first 6 months of diabetes, I had to give myself shots with syringes. So I had an insulin vial, and I had my syringes. I had to walk around with, you know, everywhere. And then later that year, I switched to pins for about a month. So it's kind of like a syringe, except you can't be as like specific, and you just kind of turn it and you give yourself the shot. And now I have an insulin pump.
Okay.
And yeah. So it's just, I change my site every 3 days. I have to change out the insulin. I have to make sure the battery doesn't die, or it'll stop giving me insulin. And it's definitely a lot easier, and it connects to a continuous glucose monitor, and it basically checks my glucose for me, and it gives me a reading about like every 5 minutes, like an update. And
does it go off if it detects something wrong?
Yeah, if it's low or if it's high, or if it's like rapidly dropping, rapidly rising, it'll give me an alert. It'll vibrate, and a little alarm will go off, and that's when I'm like, okay, I need food or I need insulin.
Is orange juice a thing? It seems like that's something people used to like have to drink orange juice or something if their blood sugar was low. Or
yeah, I know orange juice, it has like sugar in it, it has carbs in it, and you have to have about 15 carbs when your glucose is dropping. But I'm not the biggest fan of orange juice, so I have little juice boxes in my locker that I'll drink.
Now, when you compete, I mean, you would think like water and Gatorade, obviously. Is that something you have to monitor? You can't have too much of Gatorade or something like that?
Well, what I do with I just have juice boxes with me. So if I feel like I'm dropping, I'll have a juice box, or I'll disconnect my insulin pump because like if I'm having insulin, then it's gonna drop like quicker.
Yeah.
So I know with Gatorade, I'll normally have like one, but I try to stay away from that.
Do you compete with that?
No, I don't compete with it on me.
Uh-huh.
In between events and stuff, I'll connect it back so my blood sugar doesn't spike and I don't go in diabetic ketoacidosis.
There you go. You don't want that.
But yeah, I'll connect in between like events and stuff. But when I'm running, I don't have it on me.
How much of a challenge is it? I mean, you have to keep up with that, in between, state races and stuff.
It's kind of like a job for me.
Yeah.
Like, except I don't get paid.
Yeah.
But I know I just have to monitor it, and I know what I do now is going to affect me later in the future. So eventually it'll all be worth it. Like, there's going to eventually be a cure in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. And when I do now, I have to make sure that I keep myself healthy now so I can do what I want to do in the future. So I can run college track, so I could possibly go pro or possibly go to the Olympic trials, just so I can do what I want to do without like having any like burdens, you know.
Is that at the top of your list? Because I know when Anna Marion was here, I talked to her and it was like, she has a watch counting down to the 2020 Olympics or something. Is that like your ultimate goal to try to reach that point?
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm still, yes, no, maybe. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I know it's in the back of my mind.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How often do you have to go to doctors and stuff like that?
I go every 3 months.
Okay.
So,
Do you have to go to Atlanta, or is there somebody here?
It depends on the appointment.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I'll drive to Atlanta, so I'll have to miss a day of school. But I know I go to a doctor's office by the St. Mary's. I also go to one in Duluth, Georgia. But those are like the 3 locations I mainly go to.
Yeah. Has it given you a problem while competing? Like you feel woozy or anything like that, or is it pretty?
As long as my
good?
levels are normal, I normally feel fine. I know if my blood sugar's like dropping, I'm gonna have to check and eat something. But I know for track meets, when I'm nervous, my blood sugar, it rises like a lot. So I'm constantly like about 200, which is my level. My range is like 70 to 150. So if I'm like 200, 250. It's it's high and I'll feel a little off sometimes, but just as long as I keep it level, I'll feel better.
Does anybody you compete against know that you have to go through this, or you kind of keep it quiet? No, I guess since you don't compete with that pack on or anything.
I know, yeah, I keep my insulin pump off, but I'll have like a CGM in my arm, because I have to change my sites. So my pump site or my CGM site, it'll be like on my arm, sometimes on my leg.
Okay.
But if it's on my stomach, they can't see it. So sometimes they'll be like, hey, what's on your arm? I'm like, it's a continuous glucose monitor. I have type 1 diabetes, so yeah.
And they're like, wow, and you're beating my butt in track.
I don't say that part, but.
You said CGM, is that what that's called?
Yeah, it's a continuous glucose monitor.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay. Well, anything else? I think that's covered everything.
I think that's about it, yeah.
Well, good luck. She said she's going to Iowa, by the way, right after this for a college, I guess, recruiting trip. Yeah. So anyway, well, thank you so much, Jasmine.
Thank you.